In the spring of 2013, an historic event happened in the world of comics. Two iconic video game characters, Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man, met for the very first time. Before you say anything, Smash 4 came out over a year later. Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man Worlds Collide was a 12-part miniseries taking place in the issues of Sonic the Hedgehog, the spin-off book Sonic Universe, and Mega Man. I did review all of the issues, so check them out if you want a refresher course. Or you could just read the story. But if you don't have the time, I'll give you a quick summary. A space-time event known as the Genesis Wave caused the Chaos Emerald to travel from Sonic's world to Mega Man's world, conveniently near Dr. Wily's current hideout. Wily's attempts to study the Emerald brought him into contact with Dr. Eggman. After both of them realized they have the same problem involving a blue hero, they decided to team up. Together, they created an alternate dimension to hatch their scheme and a new base, the Wily Egg. The first step of their plan was to use the Genesis Wave to alter their reality so that they're primed for conquest. The real-life reason was to make Sonic's world just like the games, and Mega Man's world set after Mega Man 10. Next, they sent robotic minions to kidnap Sonic's friends, turn them into robots, and have them hunt down the 6 remaining Chaos Emeralds between the two worlds. To get rid of their arch-nemeses, they arranged events so that the two would engage each other in combat. The fight took place between the two worlds, with each hero using their respective world to his advantage. When it becomes apparent that the blue heroes might have second thoughts, the Doctors ordered Tailsman, who acted as the Doctor's camera by the way, to attack. This was their first major mistake. Not only did the heroes stop Tailsman, they changed him back to normal using a charge shot spin dash combo. After learning about Eggman and Wily's alliance, they head over to Light Labs just in time to witness Dr. Light's kidnapping. Tails was able to piggyback on Light's portal research, which allowed our group of heroes to enter the Doctor's dimension, the Skull Egg Zone. The group journeyed through this strange mixture of Sonic and Mega Man levels, encountering a number of enemies including Sonic's roboticized friends. One by one, these roboticized masters fell to the Blue Duo. To help turn them back to normal quickly, Tails modified Mega Man's Buster to fire the Spin Dash Blast. Plus, Mega Man got new powers in the process. Eventually, Sonic's friends were rescued and they journeyed to the Wily Egg. Upon arrival, they were greeted by an army of robot masters. On the Wily Egg, the Doctors were preparing something with the 7 Chaos Emeralds, and taking the time to toy with Dr. Light. Now, throughout this story, Eggman and Wily have been building up a relationship of sorts. A bromance, as it were. But, being who they are, they did have plans to backstab each other if the heroes gained the upper hand. But here's the moment that forever ruined their friendship. Dr. Eggman saw Dr. Light as a threat. So what's his answer to said threat? Kill him, of course. But, dropping Dr. Light out of the Wily Egg backfired for 2 reasons. 1. Dr. Light was saved by Shadow. And 2. It pissed off Dr. Wily. From day 1, Wily wanted to prove to Light that he was the superior genius. And what's the point of that if Light is dead? Back to the heroes, Sonic, Mega Man, and their respective sidekicks boarded the Wily Egg. An encounter with the Mega Man killers took Tails out of the fight and Rush flew him away. The next challenge was the Chaos Devil, which is Chaos from Sonic Adventure with one of Wily's Devil Cores inside him. Our blue heroes would have been defeated here if not for the intervention of Space Cop Duo. And for the record, Dr. Light did call him earlier in the story. With Duo and Chaos Devil occupied, Sonic and Mega Man had to contend with their robotic rivals. They barely managed to defeat them, but left themselves open to the Doctor's weapon, the Egg Wily Machine X, a combination of the Death Egg robot and Wily Machine number 9. Instead of, killing the heroes, they kept them alive and explained their ultimate plan. Using all 7 Chaos Emeralds, they planned to create a Super Genesis Wave. A normal Genesis Wave powered by 1 Emerald could alter and rearrange a world. This Super Genesis Wave would recreate a universe on a molecular level. This would essentially make Eggman and Wily gods, as they could shape reality into whatever their sick hearts desire. As the Super Genesis Wave activates, some reinforcements arrive, freeing the Blue Duo and attacking the Egg Wily Machine X. During the attack, we learned that the Doctors sabotaged each other's controls at the same time. Whoops. They were able to get their act together and get the machine back to full power. Thankfully, Proto Man and Knuckles' distraction allowed Sonic and Mega Man access to the Chaos Emeralds. Enter Super Sonic and Super Mega Man. At this point, the Doctors were screwed. Try as they might, they were no match for the combined might of 2 Chaos-powered heroes. While they won the battle, Sonic and Mega Man still need to fix their worlds. And so, Sonic explained to Mega Man the space-time warp capabilities of Chaos Control. Sonic used it last time Eggman screwed up the space-time continuum to return things to normal. At the machine wreckage, Wily sat there, resigned to failure. Eggman, however, made one final desperate move to stop Sonic from winning. And so the crossover ended with Mega Man successfully restoring his world, but the Sonic-Eggman conflict causing dire consequences to theirs. In the aftermath of the crossover, Mega Man's world reverted back to its previous time frame, with no one remembering the events of the crossover, save for a quick nod here or there. But Mega Man had bigger things to worry about. Blaze's world had a few visitors from Sonic's world, not to mention the appearance of a modified Wily egg, which Burning Blaze destroyed. As for Sonic's world, the screwed up Chaos Control altered it forever. It's now a world where most of the game events happen, with a mix of Sonic cartoon elements. Not only that, the multiverse has collapsed and has been reborn. And it gets better, folks. The remaining Super Genesis Wave energy caused the planet to shatter. So now we're at the midst of another crossover between the Blue Heroes. Worlds unite. Only this time there will be some company. Namely, the cast of Mega Man X and Sonic Boom. Well, in Boom's case, it might just be one representative. Some of you might not be familiar with these two franchises. I'll quickly explain. Mega Man X is set 100 years after the original series. It featured advanced machines known as Reploids, robots that can think and feel for themselves. They're called Reploids because their design was based on this advanced robot, X, the greatest and possibly final creation of Dr. Light. He was sealed away for years for a moral diagnostic test to make sure he wouldn't use his free will to hurt humans. The Reploids, however, received no such testing. With the rise of these Maverick Reploids, the Maverick Hunters were created as a response. They were once led by Sigma, but certain circumstances led to him becoming Maverick himself. X would later become a Maverick Hunter himself, and become Sigma's main enemy. There is also Zero, X's friend and fellow Maverick Hunter. He's an advanced robot built by, and this is a major spoiler, Dr. Wily. A new comic series debuted near the end of 2014, Sonic Boom, based on the cartoon of the same name. It followed the goofier adventures of an alternate Sonic cast. A new character was created just for this series, Styx the Badger. She's a bit of a conspiracy nut that lives in the woods. However, she's smart, clever, and uses a boomerang. And that's pretty much it, really. There is a good chance that she'll be the only Boom character to appear in this crossover. But I could be wrong, and the rest of Team Sonic from the Boom universe might appear in this crossover. We'll see. The Mega Man X cast and the Sonic Boom cast won't be the only new characters in the crossover. Representatives from 12 additional franchises, 6 from Sega and 6 from Capcom, will be joining in. When I get to their debut issue, I will explain who these characters are and their respective game franchises. Comic-exclusive characters will appear in this crossover. The previous crossover, for the most part, featured game-only characters. It made sense because a new reader familiar with the games and not the comics would get the references and nods and not worry about who's this cybernetic bunny or who's this female drilling robot master. With all these characters coming in, you have to ask, wouldn't this clutter the miniseries, which by the way is once again 12 issues? Debatable. And yes folks, once again, we have 12 issues to work with. But unlike the last time with 3 books over 4 months, it's 4 books over 3 months, with Sonic Universe, Sonic Boom, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Mega Man. In addition, there are 2 more books coming out. Comic Store exclusive battle books. Their purpose is to tell side stories of characters battling each other. They're not required to understand the main story, but it helps flesh out the narrative and characters. Now, characters aren't the only concern people have with this crossover. It's the timing. 2 years have passed since Worlds Collide, so is it too soon for this one to come out? Again, debatable. But I do see why people would be upset. It mainly centers around the Sonic side of things. The main Sonic universe is still in the process of establishing the new world, and the new crossover puts all that world building aside for the moment. There is a good reason for this second crossover. You see, if it wasn't for the first crossover, there wouldn't be a Mega Man book now. Sales for the Mega Man comic weren't doing so well. Worlds Collide gave the comic a much-needed boost to prevent cancellation. The powers that be hoped that Worlds Unite could give sales another boost. Since I don't want this intro video to go on too long, I'll end it with where the comic stories are at, just before we enter the crossover. On the Sonic side of things, our hero and his friends are in the process of fixing the shattered world using the Chaos Emeralds and tracking down ancient structures known as Gaia Temples. Knuckles the Echidna had to destroy the Master Emerald again to prevent outsiders from taking it. His search for the shards eventually led him to temporarily join up with Sonic's team. Dr. Eggman had recently taken over a hidden world known as the Lost Hex, and its inhabitants, the Zeti. And Orbot here is acting a bit funny. Recently, they've encountered tears in the space-time continuum known as Genesis Portals. According to a scientist from Silver the Hedgehog's time, they are the result of Eggman screwing up Sonic's Chaos Control at the end of the previous crossover. The main danger of these Genesis Portals is anything could come through them, be it a giant fire monster or a sentient computer virus. Briefly in the Sonic Boom comic, our heroes thwart Boom Eggman's scheme involving a race. During the process, Styx flies off towards the jungle where she happens to land near a Genesis portal and a mysterious figure appeared before her. On the Mega Man side of things, the Blue Bomber recently stopped another Dr. Wily scheme. During the conflict, Dr. Light's lab was destroyed. Don't worry, the Light family survived. However, it appeared that Dr. Wily died at the end of the fight. In the aftermath of the conflict, they offered the Wily bots a chance at better lives, with partial success. The very much alive Dr. Wily was drafted into the service of the mysterious Mr. X, and Wily's first assignment involved him getting kidnapped by Sigma, who appeared behind Wily thanks to another Genesis portal. And that's it, folks. Next video will be part 1 of Worlds Unite. Until then, have a good day, and get hyped!